It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Scent Hunting Sense,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Turkey Calls,
Antler Action,
Family Tradition Tree Stands,
and Twisted Mind Bowstrings. And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal podcast, everybody. Your host, Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin on a glorious Sunday afternoon. A little windy, but the temperatures are rising, Danny. What's going on?
A little windy, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
That's an understatement. I tell you what, I was sitting there this morning, I was laying in bed, and I was like, actually started last night, but man, it was like, wow. And I think my my cover to my stack coming out of my bathroom up on top of the roof
Gone?
is loose.
Oh, it rattled?
I can hear What is that noise? But yes, the winds are kicking, but the temperatures are rising.
Yeah, you know, a lot of good stuff coming. Time to get out in the woods, look for sheds.
We've had a couple days where we haven't had any rain.
Right, finally.
So that's good. You can get out in the woods. My woods was soaked. I tried to take the dogs for kind of a walk. Yeah,
swim?
It was more of a swim, and I more or less had to basically wash them off because they were pretty black.
Okay.
So hopefully the woods are drying up a little bit more. People get out there and do some shed hunting. It's a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
This week is supposed to be decently weathered. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, let's just jump into this show right now.
Let's go for it.
We've got an interview for you that we did back in January at ATA.
Exciting interview.
Bill Epeards, the Elite Pro Staff PSE. This guy, and as well as Mossy Oak. I heard an interview with him this weekend, yesterday actually. 45 years with PSE and with Pete Shepley, real good friends with him. And then 29 years with Mossy Oak. So
not a bad track record.
No, and... you know, the guy's just involved in the outdoors heavily. He's a former law enforcement.
Yep.
And just a great all-around spokesperson for the outdoors. So, let's just get into the interview from ATA with Bill Epeards.
Hey, it's Mike Adams and Dan DeFall here back at ATA 2018 Indianapolis. And we are having the pleasure of sitting here talking with Bill Epeards, who's on the Elite Pro Staff PSE Archer. We're sitting in the trailer. You can't see it, but we're going to bring it here to you live.
Right, exactly. And, we're in the trailer, and we got him in a corner, so we get to ask him
he
15 minutes of his time. He can't leave.
Right,
Thanks to Dan
so.
for getting him over here. But welcome to the show, Bill.
Thank you very much for having me.
I tell you what, talking with Dan last night about your background and everything, he talks about how many animals you have mounted in your house. And he says there's a lot of animals in there, and you've shot the African Big Five. But,
I have.
So, with that being said, I'm gonna throw something at you because you've been in this business for how long now?
I've been with PSE 43 years in October, and I've been with Mossy Oak for 28 years.
See, and so you've been around a little bit. And why archery? You do everything archery. Is it the love, the passion? What drives you to do all archery?
Well, it's a challenge, you know. I mean, I started shooting a bow and arrow set, and I got in the business with a guy who used to work for PSE, retired from me, Don Castrop. I hunted with Curt Gowdy back in the day, and I shot my first antelope, but they said I'd never be able to do it, shooting an antelope with a bow and arrow, and I did it. And lo and behold, I started shooting a bow, and never had any coaching, and been very blessed to be at the right place at the right time and start shooting animals. Then they got me start doing hunting seminars, and lo and behold, 43 years later, now I do sports shows and shoot the world championships and go on down the line.
That's just
what
awesome.
A career. I mean, that's a heck of a career.
And that's not his day job.
No.
Right? So
yeah, you actually used to work in law enforcement too, correct?
I retired from the Sheriff's Department with 30 years service 5 years ago, and now I protect a judge 2 days a week. So, I've been very blessed, and it's guys that give you the breaks to get in the industry, and I'm sponsored by, almost all the top companies, and, it's being at the right place at the right time. And I get this question asked a lot by young people: how do you get started in the industry? And, it's keeping your nose clean and not burning any bridges. And and just helping people out, and that's how it gets going.
Absolutely, and that's good advice for anybody. Just keep your nose clean.
Keep it clean, and he said helping people out. Educating people, giving them good information, and helping them advance. That's the key to it, I think.
And speaking of that, since you've been in this so long, for one of the questions I do have is, what is the biggest innovation in archery that you've seen since you've been around it?
Well, I've seen it all, and you think you've been in it so long, what's next? It's not going to get any better, and then lo and behold, we got the best engineers, I think, in the industry, and they come up with something different. Like the system we have now on our bows is called the Evolve system, the Evolve cam system. And what this allows you to do, it allows you to have any let off and gives you that let off that you want from 90, 85, 70%, 65%. It allows you to let off without using a bow press by adjusting 2 set screws, and it allows you to let off. So if you have a bad shoulder, and the older you get, believe me, you'll figure this out, is that you can shoot 50 pound now, where in the old days you would have to shoot 65 pounds to get the kinetic energy, which right now you don't have to do that. And the accuracy and the forgiveness of these bows these days is phenomenal, and that's what amazes me about how these engineers keep coming up with these designs. Like we have the Stealth, the new carbon Stealth. That's a carbon bow that weighs 2.5 pounds. And when you're hunting, I hunted 2 weeks ago, 14 below zero. And here, if you've got a metal bow in your hand, believe me, it gets cold.
Right.
With that carbon, it doesn't change degrees. I mean, it's not cold. And the lightness and the more comfortable it is to shoot, it's phenomenal. And I keep saying, how can it get better? And the engineers tell me, wait till you see next year's. That's scary.
Right, it does, absolutely.
You never know what's coming from PSE.
That's right.
Well, the only thing you do know, it's going to get good.
Right,
it's going to be better every single year.
So, with that being said, you've shot the African Big Five. Most memorable African hunt?
Well, I shot the lion, and you can watch it on YouTube, PSE on YouTube. And, I train for this, and I study the critter that I'm going to hunt because I have a lot of respect for animals. It's not just going out and harvesting the animal. I've got a lot of respect for these animals, and the deal is that I study them. I study, their habitat, what I got to do, spot and stalk, tree stand, whatever it takes. Well, on this lion, I trained 40 yards, 40, 45, 50-yard shots. Well, it just so happened that this lion made a fresh kill. I got too close. I got 32 yards. When I pulled the shot off on this lion, I center punched him. I shot his heart and lungs completely out, but I was too close. This lion was all on video. It made it to me in 2.2 seconds, and if you didn't have a professional hunter with you like I did have, the cameraman and myself, we wouldn't be here talking about it. So he died less than 6 feet from me at full charge, and with his heart and lungs completely shot out.
I saw that video, and it had me shaking in my boots. I can't imagine what you were feeling at that moment when you look down 6 feet and he's laying at your feet.
Now, does that match anything, that feeling of adrenaline and everything, does that match anything in your career from law enforcement and doing anything like that to that point?
Well, it's sort of like law enforcement. I mean, when you're a cop for 30 years and you track down guys with felony records and felony charges, and that's all you mess with, you don't know what's going on behind that door that you're fixing to kick in and to try to arrest this perpet. But on the lion deal, you think everything's going to go smooth and, you make a good shot, what you train for, but then the unexpected, and this thing comes running at you. You don't have time to think. After it's all over with, the cat's laying there, and they're interviewing, and the camera's rolling on my face, you can tell that, what are you doing? But and you might have to shake your pants a little bit, to make sure everything clears. But I'm telling you, it was an amazing feat. And then, of course, we darted the rhino, and the elephant was a tremendous hunt. And it's just, I've been very blessed. The leopard and the Cape buffalo. Everybody, the Cape buffalo was probably the easiest one that I shot, and so it's been a tremendous career. Of being able to just put your hands on these animals and critters, which, there's 170 animals in my house right now, so I can remember all of these hunts.
Is there an animal out there that you want to go after that you haven't yet?
Oh, yeah. I'm fixing to go after one here March 3rd. I'm fixing to hunt the tar over in New Zealand, and that's been on my quest, and I hope I end that pretty quick. And then I've got a brown bear going on here in June or July, and then, you know, it doesn't matter. I've killed 18 Grand Slams of turkeys, 2 World Slams of turkeys. Turkey hunt's a passion to me, which I love to do. You know, I think that's the ultimate challenge with a bow and arrow set. But, you know, I killed this brown bear in the tar. You know, that's a quest, my personal quest that I'm trying to end.
You know, and he talks about the turkeys, and you still hear the passion. It's not about the kill. It's the thrill of the chase and getting out there and still getting after it, even though you've done it so much. That's awesome.
You know, calling these turkeys in, you know, I've been taught by, you know, one of the world's best, Dick Kriby. You know, he's passed away now, and I've been with the Quaker Boy Game Calls for 42 years. So he's the one that taught me how to call, and I've killed a lot of Grand Slams with Dick. And to trick in that bird is an amazing feat. You know, you don't have to be a world champion caller to do it. I couldn't call with anything, wing bone, mouth diaphragm, slay, it doesn't matter. But what amazes me the most is I love taking kids. I take kids with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I've taken kids with no operable legs, brain tumors. And you think you have a hard day like being a job as a cop. And then I never forget, I took this little kid, his name's Austin Miller, a tremendous kid. He had no use for his legs. I killed him that turkey, and he comes around and hugs my neck and says, "This is the greatest day of my life." And you don't think that chokes you up? You think you had a rough day? You need to go in the mirror, smack yourself upside the head and say, "Right there's your rough day." That's what gets me going and calling these turkeys in. That's a big thing for me.
Amen to that, man. That's giving back to kids, especially those that are less fortunate than us. And
you know, it's a sober remindment of reality for you, right? You know, and then okay, so now, out of all the animals that you've gotten, what's your favorite one to eat?
Well, you know,
out of the ones that you've eaten,
it's hard. And to be honest with you, everybody asks me, I've ate it all. I mean, everything I've shot, I have ate. I've got a 12 and a half foot, you know, alligator, life-size mount. I've ate the gator. I've shot rattlesnakes. I've ate them. Turkey breast is hard to beat for me. When you put that turkey,
going back to the turkey breast, all right.
When you take that turkey breast and fillet it, put it on that grill, it's pretty hard to beat.
All right, so you know that there you go. Come right back to the turkey.
Well, then I got to ask, lion and elephant, what does it taste like?
You know, the lion is a white meat. It tastes like mountain lion, in which I've harvested one of them. But it's a white meat. It tastes like sort of like pork to me. The elephant was a little tough. Of course, this was a big bull. And everybody said, how can you shoot an elephant? Believe me, believe this. When you go to Africa, and I've been there 12 times, nothing goes to waste. Nothing. You know, I shot this elephant. Within 3 hours, there wasn't 1 ounce of meat left on any of the ribs. I fed 2 villages for 2 months that hadn't had any meat. So nothing goes to waste. And to watch these tribes come in and disperse of that meat was unbelievable.
And then they use every part as well, correct?
Every part. The skin. I wasn't allowed to bring any of the skin, the tusk. They gave me the tail. I brought the tail back. They dipped the tail in gold and made the wife and myself bracelets, which was a big honor to me. But it was an amazing deal. So nothing goes to waste in Africa. And believe me, there's a lot of critters over there.
Well, and these hunts that you talk about over there in Africa, this is all well-maintained and managed areas where your tag fees, all those fees, it all goes back into the management of the game. We got all these people out here that think that it's evil, it's bad. Nothing could be further from the truth.
They have no clue. You go to Africa, that is what makes this country thrive, is the hunters going in. And I was very fortunate enough to have dinner with President Trump's son, Eric, and he is a big hunter, and we talked about this. And until you made a trip to Africa and seen how many critters there is and the money that the people that come in and hunt to provide to protect the elephants, to protect the rhinos, to protect all these critters and the habitat to make it better, then they shouldn't criticize anything, because I'm telling you, Africa is flourishing with wildlife, and they really take care of them. They don't mess with poachers like everybody over here. They don't like poachers. Anybody doesn't like poachers or trespassers. Here's the deal over there. You poach over there, you're not going in where they'll kill you.
Yep, exactly.
They will kill you and leave you last. We had a bodyguard over there. His name was Bravey. He's from Zimbabwe, and all he did was patrol the area. I said, Bravey, what happens if you spot a poacher? He said, I kill him. I said, well, what do you do with him? He says, I don't do nothing with him. I leave him lay. Africa's full of predators. He won't last long.
Right.
That's amazing to do.
So he's feeding the animals.
Exactly.
I love it.
Right.
It's the death of a human. I shouldn't laugh like that. But the point is they're taking life, and they're doing it illegally, so they deal with it in a very unique way.
Right.
And
exactly.
even that type of meat doesn't go to waste.
And that's very important, That's very important for people to realize. That they patrol these areas and protect the money that we spend over there on all the fees. It's the money goes back into the wildlife to protect this wildlife and to make sure that the poaching doesn't go on. And the trespassers, and they got a patrol that do nothing but go out and look for snares. And to protect the wildlife, that we're there to hunt. So, these people got a misconception. If they go over and see it one time.
Go over and see for yourself what they do.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see the wildlife in Africa, South Africa, and all the countries over there.
Well, let's take a step back just a little bit here. We've talked about all this hunting here in your career and in your regular job in law enforcement. But let's go back. Where did you get the passion for hunting? Who gave you that and instilled that, and what did you first start hunting?
Well, when I was a kid, I was a big athlete. I was. I'm very fortunate. When I grew up, my dad didn't hunt. My uncle hunted. He got me into it because I was in sports. And in fact, I just got inducted to the Sports Hall of Fame, where I'm from. And I did it all: baseball, basketball, football, track, the whole deal. And then when I got out of school, I got in a car accident, which it ruined my baseball career. So I started shooting a bow and arrow set, and like I say, being at the right place at the right time. This guy said, look, you're a tremendous shooter. He said, I want you continue it. And I started shooting tournaments, and lo and behold, I met an outdoor writer, and he said, I'd like for you to shoot an antelope on film with me in South Dakota. And that started the whole thing. I shot an antelope, and then antelope led to a bear, and lo and behold, I got a chance to go hunt an elk, and lo and behold, 150 animals later in my house, I'm still going.
That's
quite a beginning.
That's a beginning for him. So now, you have got one piece of advice to give to a new archer. What are you gonna tell him?
Well, it's even in law enforcement in my career when I do speeches, and I do seminars all over the United States. The thing is, and I told you earlier, is to keep your nose clean. Is to hang with the right people. Hang with the right people. If you want to get it in any career you want, I made a hunting career and a law enforcement career. If you hang with the right people, because once you get that bad name, it's hard to break in the industry. And everybody thinks this hunting industry is a big industry. Believe me, it's not a big industry. It's not. This show is huge, and I know everybody in this show. But the deal is, if you want to get started, helping people out, keeping your nose clean, keeping a clean record, do not do anything stupid, anything that totally relates to stupid. Hang with the right crowd. You got a chance of doing what you want to do because this country's giving the opportunity to do it.
Amen. And that goes to the people who protect this country.
Absolutely.
Our law enforcement and our men and women overseas that are fighting. So give them a shout out as well. Well, Bill, we've taken 10, 15 minutes of your time here. I really appreciate you taking time to sit down here in the trailer with us and hanging out. It's been a very educational 10 or 15 minutes for me. Thanks for joining us.
Well, look, it's been a pleasure for me. And, for guys like you out there spreading the word and doing stuff like this, it's amazing. It helps our sport, and we definitely appreciate it. So thanks for having me.
Well, what do you think, man?
I tell you what, the guy, I really want to see his house.
Right? All the animals?
All the animals. And how much room he's got left.
Right.
Because poor Denny Steiner had to build a bigger
barn
practically,
yeah,
right? And this guy, from what Dan was telling us, he ain't got much room left.
No, he's going to have to get another house or something.
Right, but man, you talk about experience and what he's been through and seen and gone after. And
been through that lion hunt in Africa with a bow. To me, that wow. That alone right there to me just gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. I've seen the video from it.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
Hope your PA's got a good shot.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, absolutely.
So, definitely a great guy. Great guy to talk with. We got 15 minutes with him, and it was well worth it.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take our first break. When we come back, let's get into something that's going to get us into this coming season, which is turkey season.
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to step outside. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Up North Journal, second segment of the show here on the live stream and the regular podcast as well.
Absolutely. It's.
I kind of got lost there for a minute. I'm discombobulated.
You kind of lost yourself there, but you recovered nicely.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just a good recovery is always a good plan to have, especially when you're out in the woods, and it's always good to have a recovery plan, but it's also good to practice.
Yeah.
In case you need that recovery plan.
Well, man, you got the table full here tonight, man.
I do. That's this warm weather. Matter of fact, my brother texted me earlier this week.
Yeah.
And said that he saw a flock of turkeys out in the field down where we used to live.
Okay.
And there was a couple strutting.
Okay.
So I was like, ooh, okay. You know what that means.
It's getting close.
It's getting close.
Closer.
And here we are. This is the last weekend in February.
Mm-hmm.
And the second and fourth weekends, you and I are going to be at Cabela's.
Yes.
Doing turkey.
Doing turkeys. Yep, absolutely.
And so I was kind of figuring, you know what? Maybe a good time. Let's just go get the calls out. Maybe look at them, check them out, get the slick stick out,
do some conditioning,
condition them. We got a little test we're going to run tonight.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, I see something else that you got here. Let me get back over here to the wide shot here so we can see what's going on. You've got something right there that you just got back. And that to me does not look like a striker for a pot call.
No. Okay, so during I did this last year, and then I did it again this year at a wild game dinner. They had a silent auction.
Okay.
And so what I did is I bidded on magna porting of a shotgun barrel.
Okay.
So I won it, and so this is the barrel I did this year. This is my 20 gauge Mossberg turkey gun that I'm using.
Okay.
That I don't know if you can see this.
You know what? Let me go back to that tight shot, and I'll let you stand up there and put it in front of the.
You can see right here. There's 2 rows.
You're gonna have to talk louder, dude.
All right.
Here, you know what? Here. Give me that.
Here.
You give me that.
All right.
I'll go over here. I'll put it in front of the camera.
There we go. All right. So what I'll do. So what we did is I won that, and what they did is they put 2 rows. There you go. 2 rows of EDM holes on each side of the barrel. So you get 4 total rows. There's 11 slots on each side, and it's magna ported. And those holes are pointed backwards of the barrel. So
I thought that when I looked at that,
yep,
they looked like they were backwards. It sure looked like it to me.
And what that does is it takes the gases and it pushes it back to reduce the recoil and the kick of the lift of the front barrel.
If you go over to our Facebook page about a week back,
yes,
we did it on the trail with Tom Wright from Williams Gun Sight and Outfitters here locally, a gun shop that I do some work with at Channel 12. And we did a story on muzzle brakes.
Yep.
So the science behind, he kind of explained a little bit of that, and they showed how that all works. But it's the exact same thing.
Exactly. And it's an EDM process. They do it two lines for the shotgun barrel on each side of center, and then hopefully in the next week or two I'm going to get this thing out, go shoot it, and see how my barrel's changed.
Okay.
Actually, this 20 gauge, last year that we shot it, I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're hoping that everything's okay?
Well, that and it's going to be a little bit louder.
Yeah,
but
sure.
That's another thing I want to check into. Actually, also, Lincoln Roan brought this up when we talked about that, right?
Yeah, when I made that post.
Yep. The earring protection. I think I want to maybe look into getting one of those game ears.
Okay, I know Bob Rich from the BR Shooting Journal. He's got the Squirrel Hunter blog over on Facebook.
Yep.
He uses Pro Ears, and he said he simply loves them.
Pro Ears.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's what he hunts with.
So,
and he's got some hearing issues, as I do. I don't know. I don't think we've talked on the show, but I've got some hearing issues.
We talked about roughly last year. Yeah, the ringing in the ear.
Yeah.
So I had that done. I just got this back Friday. So I haven't even been able to put this on the gun yet. So I'm kind of excited.
You have to get out to the range.
Absolutely. So got the turkey choke. It's all ready to go.
Okay. Now, typically, I know you won that at auction, but typically, what does that cost somebody?
Typically, just this shotgun, simple shotgun here, retail value is $125.
Okay, $125.
Yep. So I think it's well worth it. I really am interested to see how it works on the 20 or 12 gauge that I had done last year.
You haven't shot it?
I haven't shot that one since I had it put on. I was using this gun
last year. Okay,
so,
I got you.
But we'll get those out. We're going to shoot them and see how it is. I'm excited.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, so we're getting into the spring thing. My brother texts me, says he's seeing some out there strutting and flocks, and here there's Kevin Craven posted he saw a big flock out in the field. We got to get.
I haven't seen mine yet. The ones behind the house that I'm not allowed to hunt.
Oh yeah.
That's a whole nother story. But I haven't been able to see them yet this year. Jeffrey Leantis, hey Jeff, what's going on? He posts Williams and Flint did his 243. Did a great job, but they're loud. Yep, absolutely.
Yep. So it's kind of playing out that you have the muzzle brake or you have the magna port done. You're gonna have to be aware of your sound.
Right. Well, the gun that they did in the video, if you do go watch it, was I believe it was a 300 Weatherby, and it was a screw-on muzzle brake.
Okay. Yep. So
they shot it without it. We shot video and everything just to show the difference and slow-moed it down and everything. But I had my hearing protection on. We're indoors in an indoor 4-lane shooting range, and I mean I knew it was going to be loud, but oh man, I jumped. But when they put the muzzle brake on, it was even louder.
Right, because that's coming back at you. And
right, you could feel it,
use the concussion.
Yep, exactly. So
man, that's something.
But
excited to get that ready to get rolling. Get this. Definitely, you got to shoot the turkey guns. Make sure we were patterning. Yep. I picked up some shells yesterday for the 20 gauge, 3-inch number 5s.
Okay.
I'm looking for my 12 gauge. They didn't have them. I probably got to go over to another. I went to a couple spots yesterday, but
okay.
I need the 2 3/4 shell.
Now, do you expect it to pattern differently?
I don't think so.
I don't know because I've never shot.
I don't think so.
Muzzle brake on it.
I think it's just gonna be. It's gonna be the same. I think.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just making sure that my scope isn't going anywhere.
Right. Okay.
It should be on. I'm expecting
your
it to
12
be
is scoped.
Yeah, they're both scoped. So.
Oh, you've got a scope that goes on this.
Yeah.
It's setting it back on the receiver portion. Of it.
It's I want to say dovetail mount.
Okay.
So.
Right on.
But they both got scopes. This one, matter of fact, has a True Glow turkey scope, and the other one is just a simple red dot.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm excited to get those out, get those shot, check the patterns. Plus, just to get outdoors. This rain being inside and everything.
I wanted to get out this weekend, didn't make it.
Right.
I tore the cabin apart.
You did a fantastic job
putting it back together.
That too.
Yeah. I went from that wall to that wall, from that wall to that wall. I was looking for something, still didn't find it.
Still can't find it.
No.
You know what, dude? I think because it's black, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be here. It just. I don't think you've taken it anywhere.
I tore this place completely apart. I looked in every nook and cranny and every box that's in here. So
amazing.
I don't know. Anyway, so I tell you what, we're bumping up here on our second break. Why don't we step outside? We take our break. We come back. We got about a half hour left in the show here. We can continue the live stream afterwards, but for the podcast portion here, let's get some business done. Take a break, and we'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back, third segment of the show. Okay, we talked about the barrel here. Dan, we've made quite the display here in front here. Let's get another close-up here and show everybody what we got going on tonight.
Yep. Just to cover a question from Tim, what distance do I shoot the gun into pattern it? I do believe they have it set up for 25 yards.
Okay, that's where you shoot it. You shoot at Williams. Okay.
At Williams. I think it's 25 or 30.
Okay.
I want to say it's 25.
I can't remember if it's 25 or 30. It's one or the other.
Yeah, it's right there.
When I see Tom this week, I'll ask him.
There you go.
But I will say this. The whole entire gun range is underwater. I was over there Thursday shooting this week's episode, and dude, it is like feet underwater all the way to the 100-yard berm. He says it's the worst it's ever been. So
okay.
So all right, back to what we're talking about.
Maybe
here.
I won't be going this week.
What do we got up here?
All right, so courtesy of our sponsor for Up North Journal this year, courtesy of Limb Walker's Game Calls out of Harts, West Virginia, Tim Cius, maker of these fine calls. As you see there, we've got the green one on the end is the plastic double-sided. That one has a glass over slate. You can flip that right there. Look at that. That's your glass over slate. The one next to that is the glass, and the one next to that is a slate. The two on top, we just got in. And those two are aluminum. They're almost identical.
Okay. Should I flip them over?
Yeah, flip them over. And Tim sent this up to us, and he's kind of asking us to check these out and give them a little workout and kind of give us his opinion of them. He did something a little bit different here on the back side of these. As you can see here, the hole in the center and the hole in the center of the other one are two different sizes. So, will that make a noise difference? Will one be louder, one be quieter?
I don't know.
There's only one way to find out, isn't there?
There's only one way to find out.
All right.
We have played with these just a little bit.
Absolutely.
Just to be clear.
As we talk about these, and you're going to play the first one.
These are aluminum.
These are anodized aluminum calls. And all we've done to these, I talked to him today, matter of fact, about conditioning them.
Where's my Scotch-Brite?
Right here. We just took a little bit of Scotch-Brite, and we just kind of, there you go, just went around in a circle. Don't have to do much to them. They'll get a little bit as you wear them down, but just keeping them conditioned. That's all you got to do.
Okay.
Nothing real special. And you also did your striker, which is a good thing in case some oils or whatever got on there. So play the first one, and let's see how this sounds.
Okay, I'm not going to say which ones are which.
Don't tell.
I want you guys to listen to number 1 and number 2. I'm gonna play it from the same spot here. Let me put it up here just a little bit so that way everybody can see where I'm playing from. Make sure that they understand that we are switching. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's number 1, and this is number 2. Okay. Any difference? Did you notice any difference?
I noticed a slight difference.
Number 1 or number 2?
Number 1 seemed to have been louder.
A little louder?
Is that the bigger or the smaller hole?
It's bigger. That's like what we talked about.
Yeah. Now, the striker you're using, which is one of your typical strikers that you're using.
This is one of my go-tos. This one is a Primos. It's a laminate striker. You can see I've got...
There's a ton of strikers you can use.
20 different ones here.
Right. And so it's just one that he picked. This one
came with
the call.
With the Limb Walker calls.
Right.
That's still number 2. Okay. This is number 1.
One is sounding louder.
The first one?
Yep.
That was number 2, actually.
The first one.
That was still number 2 in my hand, the small one. I think the bigger indication is what striker you're using.
Yep, I was just about to say, because you used this striker.
Yep.
And then you just went to that striker, and it sounded different.
They did sound, and they should sound different.
Absolutely, because of the
different types of wood.
Yep.
But between the two, that was number 2. This is number 1. Okay, let's go back. Number 1 again. And this one's number 2. And I'm playing basically in the same spot.
That one sounds quieter. A tad.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
Or maybe not quieter, maybe deeper.
Deeper? Okay.
Maybe deeper, that's the word.
It's number 2. Back to number 1. See the spot where I played here. Seems a little sharper.
Yeah, a little deeper. I think you're getting... so I think the holes are making a difference, but it goes to show you also that strikers make a difference, because you could also use this acrylic.
That one's not been shaped yet.
Right. We got to work on this, because Tim sent it to us flat.
He said that this striker, this acrylic striker, will play on a slate call when it's wet.
Yes.
I need to get some water in here.
Yeah, you do.
We try it out.
Right.
But it's cut flat. I've not shaped it yet. So the reason he does that is because he said everybody likes to kind of play things the way they want. It's like tuning your own guitar. You want to tune your strikers the way
you know what that's a very good.
And I forget which ones we're playing now, number wise. But you got to hold it just right, because I don't have it shaped yet. That's not a fair representation. So
there you go. So as far as the aluminum one, conditioning it, it's real simple to condition. So it'd be good to get these calls out there. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for my other laminated striker that's... you're trying to steal it on me.
Yeah, that too.
You're trying to steal my go-to strikers, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to run with them.
You just notice high pitch. And that's the thing with the metal calls, the aluminum, copper, or whatever. It's to get that high pitch on a windy day.
Right. Jeffrey Leantis, ever listen to an actual live wild turkey? You just have to be close. It's good to be close.
But on a windy day, and you got to throw a call.
Right.
That's the only way. It's
also good to be close and practice, because there's nothing worse than having them hang up at about 60 yards.
Right.
Because maybe you're just not that love pitch that he's looking for.
Well, that's the thing. I've got tons of calls, and I don't typically use box calls. I'll use a mouth call up close, so I'm hands-free at that point. But, when I'm running and gunning, I might call with one call and not get a response, and I may take and change a striker and get a response, or I may change a call and get a response. It just depends on the way things are made and the material they're made out of and the way you play them,
Right, exactly.
Versatility. So, yeah, we've got 4 calls that we're going to be running with this year here. So,
and if any of these calls by Limb Walker, you just go over on Facebook. You go over to Facebook. You look up Limb Walker game calls. He's got them all listed there. He's got them all priced out with delivery. And
I'm sorry, Jacob Abrams just typed in and chimed in. He says, "Thanks, guys. Now you got me interested in turkey hunting."
Well, that's the whole purpose we're here.
That's why we're here. Bob.
Right. But so Jacob Abrams, you're interested in turkey hunting? Get on Facebook. Go over to Limb Walker Game Calls.
Yep.
Check him out. He's got the prices. The double-sided plastic one, that's a great turkey call.
That's the best deal. What that one cost?
That one is $35, I think, or $30 plus $5 shipping.
Okay, so you got a glass side, and then you got the slate side.
There you go. Okay, so while we got
versatile.
that one on there, it's universal.
Yes. Yep.
So we got the two. We got the. So now, how are you?
What am I doing?
What are you doing?
I am conditioning the call, and what I'm doing is I'm roughing the surface up. We're going to give Jacob a little schooling here, seeing as how he's the guy that hasn't been turkey hunting.
Right.
So what I'm doing is I'm roughing this surface up, and I'm going I'm using my Primos slick stick here, and there is a rough side to the back here, and I'm using that, and I'm going straight across the call. I'm not making circles. I'm going straight in a straight line back and forth.
And you really typically you don't have to, on the glass side, you don't have to make the rough all over. You can make it just in a little area.
You just want it rough enough for it to vibrate across.
That's right. All you're doing is playing across the vibrations, the roughness.
Right.
That's what's making the call.
You see that striker plays deeper.
Yep. And you know what, Jacob, if there's one thing, if you've never been turkey hunting, what'll get you hooked is if you do that call and you get a response back and you start talking with a turkey, you're hooked.
I love that.
Isn't it? That's good.
That's good, man.
And that's the double-sided plastic.
Yep.
You go up on Limwalkers on Facebook. He's got the prices for all these. The double-sided glass over slate. It says $30 plus $5 shipping. Just get a hold of Tim, and he'll get them to you ASAP.
That's right.
Now, the next one, that's a double-sided, is a single-sided glass. The next one we got here. And all this is just the one-sided. Again, going with the glass. Just kind of conditioning a little bit.
I'm trying to make the purr. I don't have the area scratched up big enough to...
There you go. And that's a glass.
I need to practice. I haven't played these in a year.
No, you haven't.
Okay,
So,
and the slate.
And then you got the slate.
I like slates mainly. They play softer. And like Jeff was saying when he chimed in earlier about playing close to them, you don't want to be throwing a bunch of loud calls out to them. The slate will play a lot quieter, a lot softer. Problem is, on a morning that's got a lot of moisture in the air,
don't get it wet.
They get wet. Well, we got the acrylic striker this year.
Right. We got the acrylic striker that Tim says will play the slate when wet.
When wet. So that's something that we want to check out. And,
right. Definitely got to remember that. And now, how do you condition the slate?
The slate, you use Scotch-Brite, piece of Scotch-Brite. You carry this with you in the woods. Because also, you'll clean the end of your striker. Just take and just rub it around on the end like so. Because it'll load up as well. But you just take Scotch-Brite and you just go around in a circle, like what we did with the aluminums. And then rough that surface up. And then you're just making the call on top here.
There you go. And that's a slate call.
That's a slate.
So you've got glass, you've got slate, we've got aluminum. There's all different types of coverings that you can use in a pot call.
Yep, absolutely.
But that's not the only calls that they have out there. You also got on the table 2 box calls.
Yep.
That box calls are...
I'll tell you what. Why don't we save them? Let's go to a break. We'll come back and we'll talk about this.
We can do that.
All righty. We're going to step outside, and we'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at psearchery.com.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back. Last segment of the show, everybody.
We're talking turkey calls.
Talking turkey. Okay, what I got here is chalk. This is not your standard chalk. You got to make sure you you don't get chalk that has oil in it. That's very important. And then we use
you can't use your Crayola crayon chalk.
Chalk, right. What we're doing is we're roughing up we're applying this to the back of the paddle.
And one thing, and we're not sponsored by Primo, so we're going to give them up. This slick stick is just awesome.
It's invaluable.
Comes with a piece of chalk, comes with 2 pieces of Scotch-Brite. It comes with the rough and the semi-rough, I guess if you want to call it. But right there, carry that in your pocket. You can condition your calls while you're out in the field.
Well, here, real quick, what I like about that, like he said, it's got the rough and it's got the stone on the side. But right here in the end, it's hard to see, but there's a piece of Scotch-Brite in there. So when you're out playing this and you want to clean your peg, you just run it into the inside like so. Cleans the end of your peg out. You can pull this Scotch-Brite out, and you've then got a piece that you can actually clean your pot call with. And there's also one in the end here. And the reason that's in there is because it is holding
a piece of chalk, which you just dropped.
Just dropped. Probably into a puddle in the woods. So you can see there's a piece of chalk.
Yep.
So,
but for $10, you got everything there to condition any one of these calls.
Yep.
Whether it be a box call, whether it be a pot call.
And your peg. Right. So
with that being said, 2 box calls. There you go. You just kind of drag it across, right?
This is an old Lynch. Not real old, otherwise I wouldn't have it out.
Right, as a Primos here.
Yeah, this is an all wood call. That's a composite box on that one. That's the first one I ever bought.
Oh, okay.
And ran in the woods with. Just didn't know what I was doing.
Well,
bought, whatever.
It's kind of funny you bought that. But this one actually is plastic.
Yeah, it's composite
on 3 sides. And on the side that it plays is the wood side.
Right.
And really, truthfully, if that broke, you could almost fix that because it's got the screws.
Yeah.
Kind of neat.
I don't know if you could buy replacement parts for that or not. I don't know. The thing I don't like about these box calls is when you're running through the woods,
especially if you put it in your vest pocket,
it chirps. And
unless you get a rubber band and get that.
Yep.
But if you leave it go, you'll be walking.
And if you're hunting public land,
oh yeah,
then you got to worry about somebody hearing that and thinking you're a turkey.
Yeah. So. And trust me, they will.
Right.
They will. So we've got the box call. There's one more call that we're at here.
The mouth calls.
Your mouth calls.
These have not been cleaned this year or gotten ready, so I'm not even going to put them in my mouth.
Right, because what you should do, if you're using the ones from last year, that they've been sitting for a while, take them, dump them in some mouthwash for a few minutes, let them get decontaminated.
Let them get decontaminated, let them get lubricated again, let them get some moisture in them. I found one actually that the whole reed in it fell apart. It was so dry. Yeah. So
Tim besides the rubber band is paper towel as well.
Paper towel. Okay.
Yep, that's a good one.
There you go.
But as far as mouth calls are really cool in the fact first thing you got to determine is what kind of mouth you have.
Yep.
Me, I found out that the small framed mouth calls is what's for me. Tried the large, which I didn't know was difference, and I gagged, of course. But
you learn to trim them down?
Either trim them down or you buy the small frame ones. And because I have a 50-minute drive to work and drive from home, I can practice on the way home all the way and bother nobody except me.
Without annoying your wife?
Right.
Like, see, okay, I'm gonna line these up here on one side. You can see that one in the front is actually narrower than the one in the back. If you can see it fair. I can't tell if you can or not.
Jeffrey Leanta says, keep them in the fridge also.
I have heard that.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a guy that we used to hunt with that did that as well. That's one thing. Actually, I just found these. These were put away with a bunch of stuff when I was cleaning the office. And I thought I had lost my mouth calls and didn't even have them last year. So
so you found them?
Yeah, actually, I went out and bought one of the bat wings from
you
Cabela's.
bought it from Cabela's when we were there last year.
Yeah, and that's the one I ran with last year. But truthfully, I don't even know if these will even play. I don't know if they will.
He says the mouth calls will last forever.
Do they?
He says so, but mine, I noticed, started to wear through.
Okay. Well, that one was so dry, like I said, it crumbled. But that was probably one of the first ones I had ever bought. But I don't know. I've got probably 5 to 10 of these things here.
You've got a container there that holds all your mouth calls.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another one, again by Primos. Mm-hmm. Kind of a cool thing here. You open this up. It's magnetic. You can strap it to your leg.
Arm,
you can
whatever.
Have it in your leg. You open it up, and it's got room for eight different mouth calls. And there's your bat wing, by the way. So that's a great thing. Great little tool to have. You won't lose your mouth calls. It's kind of cool. Kevin, you like that shirt? Yeah, me too. Absolutely. But there's all your calls. You got to start practicing them. Like I said, mouth calls, you can practice to and from on your way to work. Just get them in your mouth. First thing you got to do is get it in there. And if you just drive to work and just have it in your mouth when you start, if you've never done it before, just to get that feeling in your mouth.
Right. Just to practice to keep them from gagging.
Right, exactly.
That one's loud.
That is loud. That's your locator calls.
That's an owl hoot. I've got 3 or 4 different ones.
You got a few of them.
Yeah, I don't know where they all came from, to tell you the truth. Some of them may be Mikey's from back in the day. This is one that I use in the field, along with my crow call, that's a little different. This is a pileated woodpecker call.
Oh, yes, okay.
This is pretty high-pitched. But that's pileated, or I'm sorry, not pileated, it's a peacock.
Oh, a peacock.
Peacock. And we got peacocks around the corner here.
Do you really?
Yep. But it's another thing you can throw out there to try to get them to shot gobble.
Kevin says I can practice at work. Yeah.
Coworker of yours?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that would go over.
I think what you need to do is you and your coworker need to get maybe somebody get one of those rattle gobble calls, and then the other one have a pot call or mouth call hen, and kind of go back and forth across the room with each other.
Right.
And then you can kind of get down and you can start doing the strut.
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah, I'll be checked into the loony bin.
Right. They put you in a round room, tell you to sit in the corner.
Right.
So, but yeah, we found I found most of these this weekend, cleaning stuff out, getting ready for the show coming up in March.
You found a whole box of stuff. What are you talking about?
Yeah, this box is full of pot calls and duck calls and predator calls and coyote
Box of calls.
Yeah, so.
Jeffrey Leantes. I have a couple custom turtle shell slate calls.
I have heard of those.
He
are
can
awesome.
share some pics of them. Please do.
Please do. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see them. And actually, if you know somebody that makes those and they're fairly reasonably priced, let me know, because I love to collect pot calls.
You're going to have to get a turtle shell.
Well, maybe the person that sells them has some. Maybe he's got because here's the thing,
Okay.
you can't hunt turtles here in Michigan. You
So
know?
if I find a dead turtle on the road that hasn't been squashed,
I don't know. You have to talk to somebody who can make them. But that's the thing is,
No, you can't hunt turtles.
You can't hunt turtles, no. Just like you can't hunt frogs or gig frog. You can't gig frogs here in Michigan. They're protected. So that is what it is.
It is. So there's your whole gamut of turkey hunting calls.
Absolutely. So it's that time of year. Start practicing. Annoy the neighbors. Annoy the wife. Annoy
the dog.
Your
I was
coworkers.
doing the aluminum today. Actually, I was doing them all. Yeah, the puppy wasn't liking it. He just had his head cocked at me, looking at me in my office, barking at me.
Okay, so now, we talked about all the calls. What's your favorite call? Favorite type of call to use, and why?
Okay, so I do like the pot call. I like the slate over glass. That seems to be one that I use a lot. Is a slate over glass.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last couple of years, I've taken up the mouth call.
Mm-hmm.
And the mouth call is getting really quick to be my go-to guy, because you said it before. The less motion, it's just in your mouth, and then it's just you can hold everything else still and work it, right?
Right.
And then if you practice enough, you can take the mouth call and push it out. And I wear a mask, so I can push it out and let it sit in the side of my mouth. In my mouth all the time. But right now, my number one go-to is a pot call.
Okay. Yeah, that's my favorite by far. I love slate. Slate or slate over glass is my favorite to use. Slate 9 times out of 10, unless it's windy. I'll go to the glass. And now we've got the aluminum. If you've got a windy day and you're trying to throw a call for a long distance because you're not getting any reaction,
right?
You need to get loud. Those would play into that. But I love the softness of the slate, of the quietness, and I can control it. I can purr really easy,
especially on those mornings when there is absolutely nothing.
Absolutely, yeah,
dead quiet.
Yep.
You're sitting there waiting for your time the hunting time, and you really don't want to go loud because you'll hear it a country mile, and you just gotta do that soft little purr. and it's amazing that they'll carry. I used to do the box call, but I'm finding I can get more with my mouth call, and then the box call is kind of staying home. So, Tim C.S., good point. Some states prohibit a turtle shell being moved across the state lines.
Oh, yeah. There's, with the amphibians, there's just a lot of regulations on that stuff. You got to be really careful about getting something or buying something and taking it. You got to make sure you can possess that in your state. So,
and to confirm what I just said, the little puppy is not liking it. He must be listening to the live broadcast.
Okay.
And you're probably driving him crazy.
Oh, good. Where's my call?
Yeah, go ahead. He's probably watching the screen going, what are those two guys doing?
Right.
But, I'm quickly learning my mouth calls, but my go-to one is definitely the pod call.
Yeah. Mouth call I use to close the deal if they're hanging up. And you're talking about, having it in your mouth the whole time. What I'll do is once I get set down, if I'm in an area where I'm ready to set and start calling, I'll put it out, I'll get it and put it in my mouth.
Yep.
And if I don't have it in the roof of my mouth, I'll take and I'll roll it and I'll put it in my cheek. Almost like a pinch of tobacco.
Yep. You put it in the cheek and
gum.
Yep.
And let it sit there. But that's kind of the way I roll. You're talking about last year. I couldn't find my mouth calls. Had I had my mouth calls, I probably could have sealed the deal on the one that I missed.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, where's my mouth call?
Right. But now you're set. You got them here. You got them over there.
Yeah. So
we'll be dealing with those, showing the people all these tricks and tips and tricks come March when we're at the Turkey Classic for Cabela's.
And you can throw everything but the kitchen sink at them, and it still won't work sometimes.
Right.
That's what's frustrating.
Deb will admit to this. We did just about everything, and it hung up at about 60 yards, and all he did was go back and forth looking at us.
Yep. He's wanting her, she's supposed to come to him. He's not supposed to go to her.
Right, and that was exactly what it is.
Yep.
And I'd really like to know, because we were in a blind, when we first heard him, when he first fired off, how close he was behind us. He was close, and I know he was pointed at us.
He'd do a circle?
He circled around us, and it's like golf ball head.
Right. That's the way it goes, man.
It is. It happens. So, but definitely, now's the time to sit there in front of the TV, your office, on your way to work. Start practicing these things. Get them ready.
Get a YouTube video of somebody that's calling, and then try to pattern after that.
Tim's got a couple videos right on.
Okay.
He's got them on YouTube, and I think he's got them posted. Matter of fact, let me just take a quick look. He's got them posted right
on Facebook.
On Facebook, yep.
There you go.
He's got a couple posted on Facebook. He's running his calls.
Okay.
So if you're interested in a pot call, get on Facebook. Lim Walker's Game Calls. Check him out. Check out the videos how he runs them. He's down in West Virginia. They don't talk too much different turkey down there than they do up here.
No, and find somebody in your area. If you're like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't quite figure this out. NWTF is getting ready to hold a lot of their workshops right now. Take your call to them with you and have somebody show you. Find a hunting buddy who chases turkeys. Believe me, there is a lot of people around the area that hunt birds. So they hunt all across the United States.
I got this wacko serial killer to get me started.
Yeah, I don't know who that would have been.
Right. NWTF, I think first weekend in April at Williams.
I think so.
Is the Flint chapter, right?
Actually, I think, there you go, breaking stuff. So I can't have anything nice in the studio.
No.
I think they might actually, I don't know if they're April or if they're March. I have to check on the date.
All right, we'll check on the date because great, you can go there, you can have them run a call for you, and they'll let you shoot a gun.
Yep, absolutely.
To feel it and to see how it feels. It's a 20 gauge that they'll let you shoot.
So, I tell you what, let's wrap up the podcast portion here. We're running just a little bit long tonight, and talk about pattern and shotguns. There's a little trick I want to talk about here in the live stream afterwards. So for the podcast portion, we're going to wrap it up tonight. And next week, what do we got going on? What
next
we're
week,
be doing?
I don't know what we're going to be doing next week.
We're into March, right?
We're fearlessly marching into March.
2 weeks from now, we'll be at Cabela's.
2 weeks we'll be at Cabela's.
Okay.
So
we'll be into something, I know that.
Yep.
All right, that'll do it for us this week, folks. And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Winsent Hunting Sense,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Lim Walker Turkey Calls,
Antler Action,
Family Tradition Tree Stands,
and Twisted Mind Bowstrings.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.